Ulu.
Okay, we are live.
Oh, we are live.
I've never called for coffee, so.
No, man. So I'll call for the coffee. We are live today, and Mahima Vachhrajani is kindly graced the show today. So Mahima, thank you. Great having you today on the show.
She's on the stage, we're off the stage, but we're still participating somehow.
So there was this comment made once by Kangana Ranaut for Alia Bhatt when the movie Razi came in, that it's Alia's world and we are living in it. So me and Hersh are saying it's Mahima's world and we are living in it.
So NDTV Profit plus Niraj sir plus mine entire following combined is Mahima's following.
Okay, let's take a look at how the markets are doing.
Sure, whatever you say, bro.
Yeah.
No, on the markets it's quiet, right? Because I don't think too much is anticipated in which ways, right?
Yeah.
2-3 days sluggishness. I mean, this morning on the trade setup we were saying that it's very unlikely that we'll see, it's difficult to pencil in factors that could lead to a sharp uptick currently, right? The good part is though that for this market is that because the Q4 earnings end on 31st May and the pre-quarter updates start 1st of July. So you barely have to contend for 22-23 working days.
Correct.
And boom, you have one more reason.
Yeah.
And hopefully this reason will be strong enough, except for maybe aviation and air cooling companies. This quarter supposedly will be a good one. So we'll have good news starting. So the market will latch on a reason or find a reason to go higher. And I think earnings will provide that reason.
So
my
hopefully
belief
second half will be better and we'll be able to cross that 25,000 mark.
Yeah, if the earnings are good, which very likely will be, then yes, expect that. And interestingly, this time around, the commentary, if not the actual delivery of the sectors that Hersh covers, particularly NBFCs, will also be pretty strong, possibly, right? Because of all that the Reserve Bank of India has done.
A beach.
Correct.
So it should be good.
Absolutely.
That's the market. What's happening in individual pockets?
What do you make of the rate the rate situation in the US?
Fed, nothing.
Fed.
It was a nothing policy. Jeffrey Dennis said it very well. Jeffrey Dennis said a boring policy. But genuinely, kuch tha nahi.
Perfect.
There's nothing that came out of it.
Yeah, and he maintained the number of cuts in the calendar year as well. He didn't tinker with anything. He just left it as is. So yeah, I mean, no news is good news, at least in markets, and that's how US reacted as well. Trend.
Trend.
And
well, and DMart, yes.
No, but
and Siemens Energy as well. That's an interesting one to discuss.
Yeah.
But our trend, I think what we were discussing in the morning as well, because we've seen that FY23 tak, the revenue growth was around 50% for trend. Then it came to around 39% last year, and now they're saying that they'll be growing 25% plus. So that is something that both of us thought was a negative, because everyone in the street expects trend to be beyond that 35-40% mark, but 25% for trend for sure. I think the street is seeing that slightly negative, but brokerages have still maintained.
Oh, what's happening to the stock?
Outperform. Exactly.
I can't see it. I don't know. It's just flat.
Too much drama. So it's, I think, both ways, because brokerages have also remained positive on the counter because I mean, stock has seen quite a downtick in the past few odd months. The brokerages are positive, but again, I think the fact that they've said that they'll grow only 25% plus is kind of negative for the counter. Otherwise, the entire commentary that came in from the management sets a clear road for the company. They've said Zudio will be their prime focus. They'll be expanding in micro markets and markets which are more in terms of density. So that is something that they're focusing on. They're focusing on own brands. They'll not go for franchisees, something that they've said. So all of these things. They're also planning to add 2 more brands in the next coming 2 to 3 odd years, and more categories as well. Plus, lab-grown diamonds is also, we'll have to see as to how that works for Trent as a whole. So all of these things. I think all these moving parts.
I don't know if this is a concern to either of you all. The number of stores which will overlap.
Yeah.
And the footfalls of which might well overlap, and therefore you might see lesser efficiency per store. Is that at all a concern?
So they said that we are not trying to focus on same-store sales growth right now. Is something that they've come out and said. They're saying that we're looking for expansion right now and not something like a sales per square feet or a same-store sales growth per se. the management is clear about that.
Yeah, I mean, I thought one clarity of thought is good too. It's an aspirational target, whether you believe or no remains to be seen. But if somebody is saying that they will grow at 25% CAGR for 7 years on that base, and you expect them to do that while maintaining profitability in some fashion, right? It's a shot in the arm. I mean, the FMCG companies have lost valuation multiples simply because their growth rates have faltered. If a company is growing, right, and it's not, and so, okay, what's the multiple right now for Trent?
131 times trailing 12 months.
No, what's the forward multiple?
Forward multiple also should go down to anywhere around 190 odd X. So that's 2027 I'm talking about.
FY27 you're saying it's 100 times?
It should not be less than that.
So therefore, pricing in the near term positives. The long term growth is constructive. It may go through a time correction, which you can argue in the last 6-9 months it has, right? Both time and price correction has happened.
Yes.
So will that continue? Possibly.
And it's also interesting because I was pulling out the data for retailers yesterday, and Trent is only amongst the large retailer pack that has done exceedingly well. I mean, you take something like an ABFRL or Raymond or Arvind Fashions or Mane or Vedanta Fashions for that matter. All of them have not performed well in FY25. In fact, the small retailers, that is your V2 retail, your V-Mart, your Vishal Mega Mart, Bazaar,
they've done well.
Have done exceedingly well because their rural penetration is good and rural demand has picked up, and that is working for these.
But Zudio is virtually, you could argue, rural demand, right? Rural or semi-urban demand.
And actually, it's the price points that is matter.
Exactly.
Even in tier 1 cities or tier 2 cities, I think people are going for that price points are going and buying from Zudio.
Yeah, I mean, in some sense, in India, the rural-urban divide is also a bit of how do I say, non-perfect gray area, right? Because in urban, you have people who are income levels are what you would typically associate in a rural-urban divide in the rural side, right? So, वो दोनों है. And I'm sure in the rural markets, there are some stupendously rich people who kind of outshine the spending power of the three of us combined in a single day, right? So therefore, in some sense, so मेरा तो है ही नहीं spending power, but चलो जो भी है. I'm a minimalist.
I was going to say,
Guys,
I'm a
this
minimalist.
is where I thank you and I leave for the day.
Someday I would really want to find out what Niraj sir's net worth is, though. Interesting to find out.
Okay. I won't really I won't really wager a guess. Maybe over lunch if you guys want to join then.
Hey, by the way, if Sajid was here, it would have been great because yesterday we did a poll, right, of NSE versus BSE, and we got the people to answer. Sajid बहुत बोलता है कि नहीं ऐसे ही होगा, लोगों पे छोड़ते हैं, and people voted for NSE.
So he was explaining to me on the way back that the larger ticket...
He will always explain. That's Sajid for you. He will never accept that he's gone wrong. That is Sajid for you. ये तो अभी तक आपको समझ आ जाना था.
नहीं समझता हूँ.
You are a black belt. He will teach karate to you and make you understand that he knows more about karate than you do. That's Sajid.
I agree. I think you can do that.
But Trent का एक चीज I just want to highlight. Today it's at 17,000 crore in terms of top line. If they do pull this off, this 10 years may 10x. 1.75 lakh crore will be their top line annualized. Just allow that to sink in. There's no retailer that is even thinking
in India, right?
In that, obviously.
But world over तो होंगे.
हाँ यार, Walmarts and Costco's must be doing that much यार. I'm sure.
Yeah.
way more. Exactly. चिल्लर है उन लोग के लिए यार. But India में for a India focused retailer to come out and say own brands में ये करूँगा is a very big deal. I mean, no matter how what I think of valuations is separate, but this is a big deal for sure.
Even StarQuick is doing very well for them.
What is StarQuick?
That's the online QC quick commerce platform that Star Bazaar has. So they are also picking up well. I mean, last quarter, the growth that they've posted was in double digits. I don't remember the exact percentage. But StarQuick is also picking up, and right now they're burning cash there. Of course, every quick commerce player is doing that to be in that race. But I think that should also pick up well for them.
So they've done around 10 to 15% EPS growth over the last 3 to 4 years. I'm saying at best they do 15%. That takes it to around 50 rupees a share, which is still 110 times forward, which is like I don't understand this, but
And imagine
But
the stock
maybe
had
I'm-
gone to how much?
maybe I'm not
8,000.
good enough to
8,000, yeah,
understand it.
8,000.
It had gone
Maybe
to
it's that.
8,000.
Yeah,
Right?
right. Yeah.
Egregious pricing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I have a very good friend who has priced it at that, who's given it a target price of 8,000. So frankly, I don't want to I don't want to get into it. But point being that yes, so be it. It is what it is. Maybe I don't understand it.
What about Siemens Energy? I researched a bit on it, but anyways, I think one of you did. You did a whole piece on it. Anushi did.
Anushi did.
Oh, okay, yeah. So no, on Siemens Energy was interesting that I thought that my limited understanding that there is this space in vogue, and Siemens decided to demerge that bucket, list it separately. It gets the premium multiples that a lot of other companies in this space get. It would have the order book that a lot of companies, the book to bill ratio that a lot of companies in this space would have, and therefore it will get the multiple that a lot of companies in this space are getting. Most brokerages penciled in it or pegged the target price at 3,000, circa 3,000 and above. So I think I haven't checked the last price, but should be trading around there only.
2,000, yeah.
2,960 was where it was within the first 2-3 minutes of listing. But likely that will stay that way. And I think TND is just looking so strong right now because of the demand.
It is.
That almost anything in this bucket, which is doing good work, should actually would be lapped up. So no surprise at the listing that it has.
Jefferies expects a 40% EPS CAGR.
Yeah, FY24 to 27.
And 3,000 is their target price. That's fine.
3,300 is their target price. They expect the listing close just below 3,000. Their target price is northwards of 3,300, I think, 3,350 or thereabouts. Yeah.
3,350.
Yeah,
correct.
exactly.
Apologies. And they're expecting the listing to be between 29.95 and 37.11. That is yesterday, of course. This was a note which came out yesterday, so I'm just talking about that. And believe the company can trade at 60 times FY27 earnings is what they are saying. So, no matter what note I've read with regard to them, there are like a clutch of notes, right? The upside from here seems capped to a certain extent. So, I just thought that's the.
वो मुझे लगता है कि बैंकिंग और एनबीएफसीज को छोड़ के हर एक सेक्टर में अपसाइड कैप ही लगेगा. Everything is trading so well and so rich in some sense.
Yeah.
So that is interesting, except maybe autos.
He's kind of let slip, that banking and financial.
No, I mentioned at the start.
Yeah.
And by the last few days, we've been talking about it, right? That one sector that you believe could actually ride the upside. I mean, if people are saying Nifty will go to 27, 28, what will drive it? Has to be banks. You can't do it without banks and NBFCs now, though. Because that's a sector that is a heavyweight and trading at decent multiples, no?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
So what's happening in that pocket? Where is it that people are now fishing within banks and NBFCs?
I think NBFCs have come in vogue in a big fashion because of the rate cuts. People are trying to bet on who will benefit most from the rate cut. I think it's easier said than done. I'll be frank with you. I think the moving mechanics are so many that at best you will get a 5% EPS impact as a result of this. So I think it's the moves are exaggerated is just what I feel in terms of the sentiment that this is going to have a big impact. I don't think so. I think it will have an impact, yes, sentimentally positive, but outside of the fact that it's just sentiment, the EPS, the real numbers will not reflect a massive impact of this. Is just my sense.
Got it.
Completely reserve the right to be wrong.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, that's how it is. But yes.
Okay, we have the questions.
Please hit like firstly. We might have the questions, but please hit like. Vedanta, is there something on Vedanta that we want to talk about?
First interim dividend. No,
right?
So
Vedanta, possibly the only possible positive on Vedanta is the fact that they've sold off Hindustan Zinc now. That stake is cleared, which means that they will pay off some part of their debt with that amount.
Or might give dividend.
No, they've suggested that they'll pay debt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stand on
So
the back.
dividend is not something that they've suggested.
No, the
Sorry.
only thing is that unlike the quantum of stake that was anticipated, that came in with a much lower
Yes.
1.6.
stake, and therefore
That's also because stock घुस गया ना.
फट से घुस गया.
So I don't think they were able to offer.
Yeah, but I think the overhang might stay on Hindustan Zinc because the people might believe कि अभी तक तो इतना ही आया था.
Correct.
More stake might come in.
Correct,
I think
correct,
that's
correct.
one issue.
Yeah. So yeah. You want start taking questions?
Yeah,
We're
we
at
should.
12:20. So
What is NSE allowed trading in Nifty spot? Meaning?
मुझे भी नहीं समझा.
मुझे भी नहीं.
What if NSE allow trading in Nifty spot? No idea.
No, it can be futures, right?
Yeah.
Nifty, NSE Nifty futures are allowed. They are virtually, they mirror the Nifty spot price any which way. So, sorry, Kshitij, I'm sorry, but at least none of us quite understood what was it. Maybe you could clarify on the question and we'll try and take it.
Yeah.
Okay, Zaria's Wellness, we did some piece, the two of you,
KYC.
right? Can
Yeah.
you talk about this?
So
You have the question?
Yeah. So what he's saying is the reason given by the management for expected increase in margin in KYC is not convincing. Any thoughts on that, please? So we've already seen an uptick in their margins in the past 2 years, where it was trading around 12-13% has gone to 14%. And what the management is saying, in the couple of years they'll increase the margin to that 17 to 18%, which they were already doing around FY22. What they've said is that I think the overall rural penetration is something that's working for them. They are going to increase their touch points in rural further. Plus urban picking up from the second half of FY26. They will also, double down in terms of the recent, the new age channels, that is your quick commerce and your e-commerce. So that is something that is going to help them overall. And I think that should fairly work well for the companies in terms of increasing the top line as well as the bottom line, and of course margins as well. Plus they're also doing a lot of cost control measures that the companies overall doing, hedging their raw materials at the right time. So all of these things combined, I think, should work well for the companies.
Yeah, I think he said 200 bips on gross margins.
Yeah.
And traditionally gross margins have been much better.
Yeah.
Of course, 2020 acquisition, etc. Gross margins took a bit of a
Sorry, I just have to
hit.
go for a link. I'll go and do the link and come back.
No worries.
Yeah, sorry, live television, can't help it.
I don't see a downside to this, because I think if gross margins can improve, then that will have a knock-on effect on EBITDA as well. And the second thing is you're expecting growth as well. He suggested double-digit growth. Now, even if I take conservative 10%, that's still decent growth in the FMCG space.
100%.
That's very decent growth in the FMCG
And
space.
volume growth
Yeah.
in double digits. That is something that none of these major FMCG companies are doing.
So just operational efficiency will improve as a result of that. I don't think that as a challenge. And my pulse of the conversation, and viewers can have their own pulse, is that three things that really stood out for me. One was that the management was candid. They were confident. And basis past guidance, they've not guided incorrectly in significant fashion. So I am not too concerned, at least at this point. And he caveated it very, very well. Basically, he gave possible reasons why he may not meet margins due to one-off factors, etc. So those still continue to be very real risks. There's no doubt about that. But yes, the aspiration is to get to 17 to 18, which seems okay.
And in the last 2 years, the inflation has also played an
It is inflation.
a major role, because your edible oil prices, which is one of their major raw material, has gone up significantly. Hello.
Please welcome, sir.
Welcome, sir.
We've spoken about you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought, sir. Anyways, we'll talk
क्या
about
नहीं
it.
बोले आज महिमा ट्रेंड के पीछे है
ट्रेंड के पीछे सर हम तो बोल ही रहे थे सुबह की नेगेटिव है
क्यों?
क्योंकि सर इतना ग्रो किया है कंपनी, आप
39% ग्रो करने के बाद 25% बोल रहे तो कम लग रहा है आपको।
एग्जैक्टली कम लग रहा है। हाँ मतलब थोड़े
बेस
एक्सपेक्टेशन ज्यादा हो गए हमारे।
बेस तो देखो यार, ऐसे मत करो।
पर सर वही, सो दैट्स व्हाट हर्ष वाज आल्सो सेइंग, उस बेस पे भी 25% ग्रो करने की बात कर रहे हैं।
कौन सी कंपनी कर रहा है आपका? और कोई इसका
1.7 लाख करोड़ का टॉप लाइन होगा इसका,
10
लार्जेस्ट एवर रिटेलर। हु इज थिंकिंग अबाउट 1.7 लाख करोड़
कोई
टॉप लाइन? कोई सोच भी नहीं
यार
रहा है।
25 और 29 में अटके 39 में अटके हुए हैं।
उसमें भी लॉस कर रहे हैं सर। I mean, you take something like an ABFRL, still in losses, right?
ABFRL पहले डीमर्ज करता है, फिर मर्ज करता है, फिर डीमर्ज करता है। तो
अच्छा सर, आपके लिए एक क्वेश्चन है. Vikin Dharan. Parag Parikh and Kenneth Andrade both have taken a position in Airtel, and this is a fresh position by Parag Parikh, by the way. I don't know
Parag
why.
Parikh has been very active.
हाँ, वही बोलने वाले थे.
कोई आपको पूछ रहा था यहाँ पर, ये आप तो पराग पराग के पीछे पड़ गए, क्या क्या कर रहे हैं?
Someone has tweeted on my tweet saying that
ये तो
आजकल सब लोग पराग पराग के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं. मैं बोल रहा हूँ मुझे सीखना है, but anyway. Bye bye. See you. Thank you sir for coming. Otherwise मैं अकेला रह जाता इधर. ठीक है. एयरटेल पे कोई व्यू है सर?
Alright, what happened? Why are you playing music? Why are you playing musical chairs?
I'm the only fixed one who's not required on TV.
No, by the way, I was doing an IPO order, 2 IPO orders basically, Ellen Berry, which is coming out next week, and then you have Kalpataru Real Estate. Again next week, 24th को खुल रहा है दोनों के दोनों. So it's going to come on the TV, so you do watch.
No, but no. What I'm saying is, while it can come on TV, when the IPO is opening, the IPO opening day, you should do a piece here.
Done.
On what whether people should apply or not.
Yes.
है ना?
Yes. पूरा.
Perfect.
बिल्कुल.
अच्छा अभी सवाल पे जाए.
सवाल एयरटेल पे.
Vikin Dharan has asked, and you missed the question, that Parag Parikh and Kenneth Andrade, who are both in their own league as managers, fund managers, have, or rather PPFAS, the whole team, have taken a position in Airtel. What do you think of the rationale behind this move?
सचिन तुझे नहीं पता ये?
मुझे पता है, पर आजकल क्या हो गया?
आपकी टेस्ट ले रहे हैं.
आपका टेस्ट ले रहे हैं. नहीं, पहले क्या होता था कि राकेश झुंझुनवाला ने ये स्टॉक खरीदा, आशीष कचुलिया ने ये स्टॉक खरीदा, न्यूज़ हो जाती थी. आज हो रहा है पराग पारिक ने ये स्टॉक खरीदा, न्यूज़ हो गई.
But think of it, the book size of PPFAS is bigger, right?
Bigger than Rakesh and others.
Simple. आप ये मान सकते हैं. देखो, I'm not comparing anybody, okay? I mean, RJ
is separate
is a league apart, right?
Yeah.
And then there are others who are in their own leagues as well. So I'm sure Ashish Kachare would agree that Rajiv Thakkar is a phenomenal investor, and Rajiv would feel the same about Ashish. So we are not comparing any of them, because this is on social media.
नीरज फंस जाएगा.
दोनों दोस्त हैं, but
हमारे तो कोई दोस्त हम बोल सकते हैं भाई. कोई
आप नहीं बोल सकते.
I hope he messages me. I tell him sorry, and that way connection बन जाए.
But so here's the deal, that Rajiv's book is large, and if he's making a decision, it has a impact on the stock. So you got to recognize it for what it is. Simple.
So if he's getting into Bharti,
duopoly है पहले तो. There are only 2 players technically in the game at this point. Your ARPUs are going up.
There's only one
which
player
should
technically in the game, as you say.
And your ARPUs are going up.
Is not listed.
And a lot of that ARPU increase will come straight to the profit after tax number. So your ROC therefore goes up as a result. Your capital, your capex is largely done, at least for the next year or two, it seems. Major part of it is done. So therefore you'll have a large amount of free cash flow, net free cash flow coming, not just CFO, which is cash flow from operations. You'll have net free cash flow coming. That's likely my thesis, but I'll leave it to
one
the
more thing
pillars.
which is driving is they've given a guidance saying that in the medium term they want to go to a 300 ARPU.
कब से बोल रहा है यार?
But
200 पे था,
4 साल से तो तू और मैं दोनों
200 पे बोला था, and people were shocked. They were like, what does he had?
No, but that was aspirational. They wanted Jio to raise rates along with them, right? But ये कब से बोल रहा है?
But last 2 साल में ARPUs have gone up by I think 30-40%. Now we are talking about next 2 to 3 years. इतना बढ़ेगा शायद हो सकता है.
आप खुश हो रहे हो कि दुखी हो रहे हो? मैं दुखी हो रहा हूँ. I'm an Airtel consumer customer. No, but
तो वही सर, इन्वेस्टर बन जाओ.
खुश हो जाओगे आप.
Then every time it goes up, you won't be sad.
खुश हो जाओगे.
You'll be happy.
ये तो वाली
बोलेंगे कि वहाँ
कि Zomato से ऑर्डर करता रहूँ और Zomato का शेयर होल्डर बन जाऊँ. लेकिन अगर शेयर भी नहीं चलेगा तो क्या करोगे? दोनों तरफ से दुखी हो जाओगे.
नहीं तो hedge करने के लिए तुम शेयर खरीदो.
No, but the beauty for Airtel, just one last piece here, is that if you look at the last 15 years, through period of massive capex, a lot of one-time charges, and to an extent when the competition was severe as well then, right? The number of players were large, etc. If you look at the last 15-20 years, Airtel stock has given phenomenal returns.
Yes,
for a long-term investor who is patient, right? Even not a return of a small cap stock, जो 10 रुपए का 2000 हो जाता है, वो बहुत कम होता है. But it has given great returns. If it has done that then, The field is set for it to do this over the next 10-15 years. It's a brilliant story. You can't go wrong with telecom, exchanges.
No, the structure has become, and Africa is playing a good role for them in terms of, and Africa is coming back in terms of cash flows and other stuff which is there.
Sir, मैं तो बोल रहा हूँ अफ्रीका ना हो तो भी
इंडियन मार्केट
बढ़ते रहेगा. पहले मोबाइल फोन ही था, अभी इंटरनेट वो है, बाद में कुछ और आ
डेटा
जाएगा,
हो गया,
बाद में कुछ और आ जाएगा. एयरटेल.
So Airtel done. Fluidomat. I'm not sure I've heard of this stock. Matiks, I'm sorry, but we've not heard of that, so we can't comment. Know your market more. Views on IREDA. Long time no stock movement. It's just valuations, frankly, I feel. And then you had that entire issue around Gensol, which also kind of suppressed and kind of put a lid with regard to how one looks at stocks like this.
Yeah.
But it's, I mean, frankly, in my humble opinion, in fact, I tweeted about this way back when the stock was at 300, that valuations just leave no room for error at like 7, 8, 9 times price to book. And mind you, it listed at 32 rupees a piece. And then it went to 270. So, I mean, everything has to have a price, right? So, I believe it's just that.
Yeah, it's a valuation thing. And this is a very small thing, but it still leaves us our taste, right? That was the Gensol piece. It's not a very high impact from a fundamental perspective.
Correct.
But sentimentally, you are right. Yeah,
correct. So, you have...
No. We don't counter Hersh. We counter each other.
Okay, Kalyan is asking, today our patriotic minister told all defense equipment will be made by Indian manufacturers. Stocks have tumbled. Your view. He's asked me for a view, but
who said this?
In general,
I really doubt all. No, I don't think all can be made by only Indian manufacturers.
No, it's all होने में भी at least a decade or two है उसके लिए. Simple as that. But point is that what is happening is that a lot of large orders, and we have done that story on NDTV Profit as well when we did the defense secretary's interview. That all major would be major orders will now go through competitive bidding rather than nomination. Yesterday night you had the AMCA letter of interest coming out and उसमें very clearly लिखा है कि any Indian company which has Indian majority can come and bid for AMCA. So it's not going to HAL as a whole. HAL will have to come and bid and take the entire order. So they can come either as a single entity or as a consortium with other members, and they can do it. So that is going to happen over a period of time. And please, defense is not आजकल का game. It's going to be at least a decade का game लेके चलो आप उसको. Means many of them are sitting on 5 to 6 years of book. And going forward, that book is going to increase because as more and more substitution of imports happen, more and more order book would flow into India. So, Indian companies. So, I think that's something which is there. So, मंत्री आएंगे जाएंगे वो अपने बोलेंगे कि इंडिया में होगा. Yes, इंडिया में होगा, पर उसके लिए टाइम लगता है. And it's a gradual. We took almost a decade after Prime Minister said that we're going to make in India. So that entire machinery takes time to come in.
Kalyan, you're a regular viewer. No new views here. And if you didn't find anything new, then don't be surprised. But I mean, it's more of the same.
नीरज सर, आपका socks बहुत cool है. कोई
बहुत cool है.
यार वो एकदम हमें business suit पहनते हैं तो कलर कहाँ है लाइफ में, तो socks में आ जाए.
ये रोशन बोल रहा है एक्चुअली.
मेरे तो कुछ कलर है नहीं.
You just become a father. You'd rather not have a colorful life. Leave it to us.
Roshan is saying FI flows into chemicals. What's happening?
No, I don't think there are flows into chemicals. यार ये chemicals वाली है ना Roshan. I must say I was amongst the biggest bull on the chemical companies, so much so that I couldn't figure out the cycle turn in 2021-22 when it actually turned. And it took me some time to realize that the cycle has turned. Since then, 2, 3 years, 4 years, और last 1 साल से मैं सुन रहा हूँ लोग eminent people saying but 6 months around the corner. But now I'm talking but now I'm talking to companies who are saying, boss, we do not know what China will be doing, and therefore unless we have the right to win in select chemicals where we are the only ones which are doing niche things and we have client contracts, etc., be careful. So as a basket, unlike the previous cycle from 2013 to 2021, you cannot view chemicals as a rising tide carrying all boats. It will be very, very specific. Be careful of what you choose.
It's all about the fun. Be it whichever change in expiry day, the top 5% of traders will make 95% of the
Losses.
लॉस है
Loss.
टॉप 5% कैसे लॉसेस
ठीक है टॉप 5% इंडिया में भी नहीं होंगे
हाँ नो बट द लॉजिक इज राइट
fact.
top 5 top 4 top 9 whatever it is but हाँ
Fact,
logic is right
fact well stated. It's all about the fun. Devanshu Kumar, Devanshu
you have to
Kumar,
do
sorry.
rapid fire huh? I was told a lot
Unfortunately, I couldn't join the live session for the last few weeks, but watched every show offline. Thank you. My question is on Natco. सब आपके ही views है Devanshu. Thank you. Natco Pharma trading at 8 PE. Management guidance is something lower pat for FY26.
yeah they've had a
Sorry,
setback
you have
right
found.
they've had a setback and therefore the situation has gone a bit awry. If you want to go for pharma, I mean, again, okay, look at the valuations that Natco is trading at currently, but my suspicion is that there are other pharma companies which are promising growth, very promising growth, and available at same or better valuations as well. So you might want to fish in that pond, but look at different fishes, not necessarily Natco. Good company has had a temporary setback, and it happens with the nature of the business that it has. Don't know when it comes out of
and
it.
pharma as a sector there's an event about to play out
Tariffs.
as well tariffs ka so be careful about what
Yes.
you're doing it
Yes.
domestic facing companies are much more secure at this point in time than foreign
क्या बोला आजकल मैं और सजीव disagree नहीं कर रहे चलो rapid fire
करते EMS stocks. Do you have a view?
very constructive.
Very positive.
I mean valuation
नॉन एसी वाले में तो नॉन एसी वाले में यस
Non-AC में yes.
no even in AC वाला I mean temporary
Eventually,
setback है,
हाँ,
हाँ,
eventually
3
तो
महीने
rebound
6
होएगा।
महीने
पूरे साल का तो चले जाएगा
Sir,
सर
we
क्या
are-
बात कर रहे हो
So
Revenue-
we are thinking FY27-28 के.
अच्छा वो
आर्ग्यूमेंट ही चाहिए तो मैंने करवा दिया मैंने करवा दिया आर्ग्यूमेंट एज द मॉडरेटर.
ये आप कह रहे हो अगला से FY27 का समर और FY28 का समर की वजह से
ठीक है चलिए.
हाँ.
CDSL CAMS BSE still good to accumulate. Roshan, still good. I
Highly
mean, we've
valued.
never said it's good to accumulate, but
It's
we
highly
can't
valued.
say we anyways can't
It's
say.
richly valued both of them are richly
very
valued.
richly valued, I think. Any news about VBL? Varun Beverages.
Beverages.
There is some news where, I believe, in one of the papers today, that Reliance is looking to infuse some money into Campa Cola. To try and push Campa Cola, and that's why your Varun Beverage stock is lower.
And they've already Campa has a 10% market share by the way in the market.
Correct. So that's why Varun Beverages take a bit of a hit. That's the news actually.
Either of you know if that market is
my
growing?
understanding.
Yet,
Yeah,
it
it's
is
growing.
growing.
Growing. Walmart annual revenue is 648 billion US dollars.
Thank you
54 lakh crore. What is 1.7?
what is 1.5
What is
and
1.7?
that too after 7 years
इसीलिए तो 130 का वैल्यूएशन दे रहे हैं.
हाँ trend
Price to earnings.
thank you for that update no,
Thank you, Roshan. Helpful, very helpful. Okay, 2 suggestions for KYC. We'll take both of them. I will take both of them.
Force Motors.
Force Motors, I've been wanting to talk to them for very long. If anyone has a connection at Force Motors,
बोलो कि हर्ष के शो में आए.
please मेरा नाम दो.
connection तो मैं भी करा दूंगा but they don't want to talk
नहीं बोलो कि हर्ष के शो में
So
आए.
वो
They don't want to
वो एक
talk.
तकलीफ है. Vigin Dharan stock suggestions, Vishnu Chemicals, BLS International will take both. I will take both.
How do you
So
analyze
thank you for that.
Siemens Energy? ये क्वेश्चन
yeah we spoke about it
हो
We
गया
spoke about it
ना?
in
ठीक है
detail
ओके
yeah.
SBI का कर लिया आपने रोशन का Can SBI be the only one stock to buy and hold forever?
No.
no there's no stock like that
Please.
except you yourself
That is
I'll buy Harsh and hold
grossly
forever.
incorrect.
बोला 10 to 12% of PF allocation उसमें डालो हर
If Harsh was a stock, would you buy Harsh? Sajid?
महीने. No.
See, I told you.
I would buy.
नहीं there's a time limit. स्टॉक्स में नहीं कंपनी नहीं होता है.
No, I mean, well, Harsh का वो होता ना NFT बन के उसको
अच्छा, NFT
list कर
बनाई.
सकते हैं हाँ and then I'll buy that NFT. That NFT is linked to Harsh's lifetime earnings and I'm betting on that.
Okay.
चलिए sir, we are short on time. अच्छा ये it's all about the fun. What can SEBI do more to curb retail investors trading?
Why?
Loss percentage has risen up to 93%.
ये that's part of a study that SEBI did last year or and about how FNO losses are increasing. But the best thing to do is that you educate yourself how to trade in a market. That's the best way to reduce your losses. SEBI उसके लिए कुछ नहीं कर सकता. SEBI will only can put in more restrictions, but more restrictions, does not give you a price discovery of any asset in the market. As SEBI said yesterday in press conference, Anant was telling, earning money is not bad. That's what he said. So derivatives provide you a good price discovery, but point is that there should not be any inefficiencies in the market which creates someone is taking disadvantage of other class of investors and all. So educate yourself. If you don't know derivatives, don't get into derivatives. If you want to get into derivatives, make sure that you have that appetite to lose 100%.
Yeah.
We have Roshan who's saying your stocks are very cool.
Okay.
We have Abhinav Mandal who's saying that MobiKwik shares with a loss of 50%, though I haven't put much capital. Is it a good idea to sell the stock now or should I wait, sir? Do you have a view? I have a very strong view, sir.
Please, go ahead. MobiKwik सिर्फ मैं ट्रांजैक्शन के लिए यूज करता हूँ, शेयरवेयर नहीं है मेरे पास.
I mean, so MobiKwik trades at a steep discount to Paytm. So if you're constructive on the space, continue to hold it. But if you're not, given this entire MDR issue, etc., which is playing out, if you don't understand
MDR is not
it,
going
just
to come
Google
in,
it.
by the way.
Yeah, just Google it, MDR and what's happening around it. If that issue continues, then likely MobiKwik doesn't see. And the other piece and we've done a KYC on MobiKwik, by the way. I urge you to go and watch it because I've highlighted all the risks over there. But more importantly, it's the worry there is that it has to turn significantly profitable. The customer acquisition cost, which I had seen in FY25, was extremely large. In fact, it was growing. It had doubled in the last 3 years or something like that. If you just look at that KYC, it'll kind of give you everything. Maybe it'll help you make a decision.
And they are now becoming more of a loan syndicator, right? In that sense,
all of them are becoming.
Yeah.
So I mean, so then where is the differentiator, right, between the two businesses?
Where is the
You have 45 crore customers sitting in, or maybe not 45, sorry, 35 crore customers maybe with Paytm versus maybe less than 2 crore with MobiKwik, if I recall right. Yeah. I mean, it's just very high competition, I feel, yeah, and it's all scaling business.
अरे एमपी जैन बोले हर्ष आज के 6 केवाईसी में छा गए, क्या किया तुमने? थैंक यू वावा का.
Mr. Mittal, I mean, good commentary, right, from him. So yeah, I mean, Mr. Jain, frankly, it's also a little bit about how the guest is going to talk and how much of a guidance is he willing to give, what's the direction he's giving. So frankly, it's more him than me, but thank you. Abir Acharya said that the Fed rate is unchanged. Oil price is going up. US inflation may go up. Could we see a recession in the USA?
ये भी नहीं, इसके तो एक और चीज ऐड करो, यूएस कैन जॉइन इजराइल फॉर अटैक, वो भी हो सकता है, बहुत कुछ हो सकता है.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think anybody can give an answer, to be honest.
We have a July 9 deadline for tariff. The whole
वो भी किसको पता है?
वो भी exactly वो बोलने वाला मैं आपको कि वो भी किसको पता है. अब उसमें क्या कि अज्यूम करो कि कोई भी कंट्री का डील ही नहीं होता है.
हाँ.
तो बेसिक 26% है, 9-10% तो रेट होने वाला है. जिसके साथ हुआ है 10%, जिसके साथ नहीं हुआ उसको 26%, जैसे हमारे साथ 26%. उस केस में तो इन्फ्लेशन तो इम्पोर्ट होने ही वाला है ना. Means already they're talking of target of 3% of inflation or something, right, in the US, which is there.
Yeah.
So if that is going to happen, आपको लगता है कि by the year end जो डॉट प्लॉट बोलता है कि 2 रेट कट हो जाएगा?
देखो यार, again with a caveat that nobody knows, right? But the oil price rise is a bit of an issue out there on the inflation front. So, and which is why the Fed's hand right now is tied to something that I'm going to write in my newsletter over the weekend.
Yes, he writes taking stock. Talking
point this week.
But
that's a good name, taking stock. Maybe I should change it.
Yeah?
Thank you for that. What's your newsletter called, by the way?
Open interest.
Open interest. I could do taking stock. Chalo, theek hai. But no, which I'm going to write tomorrow, that it appeared to be a very divided Fed this time. A lot more divided than what it has been.
Because Fed को खुद नहीं मालूम क्या हो रहा है.
नहीं पता है. And no, I'm sorry, I don't think you can blame them also.
Yeah.
I mean, the policies, the way they are changing, how can the best of minds figure out what's happening, no matter how much information you have? The Fed may be equipped with the best information, but boss, it is changing. It's changing every single day.
Yeah, there's no stability.
There's no stability. Kaise kare yaar? Impossible.
Therefore, it's tough.
And anybody who comes and says, "Okay, I'm betting my last dollar that there'll be stagflation on America," kudos है. कोई नहीं बोलेगा ये. नहीं पता.
नहीं बोल सकते यार.
नहीं बोल सकते.
और जो बोल रहे हैं, and if you're making a bet on that, I mean, suggestion is don't do it. I mean, you don't know the direction, the thinking, even after the consequence. I mean, even if we have a consequence in mind, say stagflation हो जाएगा, तो भी क्या, what they will do, we're not so sure. When they will do it, we're not so sure.
So there's an appreciation of Dilip Matthew John. Never missed a show of yours, though it has always been offline. Today I managed to catch you all online. Thank you for coming live.
Thank you, yeah.
Your show has given me many insights and helped me reaffirm my decisions and sometimes even correct it. Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
This one more.
That was the attempt when we started this. Yeah.
Web says my 50% of my portfolio is in BLS International. Don't do KYC. That may make the stock more.
का वो हो गया कि भाई हर्ष सबकी मारता है. ऐसा है क्या?
ऐसा नहीं है यार.
नहीं बोलता कि the stock may become popular.
अच्छा मैं ऐसे. But by, on that note, 50% in a stock is unthinkable. Even if you have gold, like 50% in one asset.
नहीं होना चाहिए.
Not a good idea right now.
But if you're confident.
No, my point being.
तुम जितना भी conviction हो फिर भी नहीं.
आपको externals इतने आके hit करता है ना.
वो है.
अरे सिंपल सी बात है. कल को कोई कंट्री ने बोल दिया कि मैं वीजा बंद कर रहा हूँ, तुम्हारा रेवेन्यू हिट हो गया. वो हो गया.
आप सोचो अगर आप इंडिगो पे कितने बुलिश थे. ऑपरेशन सिंदूर हुआ, this that, the travels have gone down. Q1 will be bad, no? Nothing to do with Indigo. But
I'm in fact even more motivated to do BLS International now. Wherever your comments aren't helping, so.
अरे भाई एक viewer चला जाएगा. Every viewer is important.
No, I'm just joking, but I mean, we'll still try to do it. Webav hopefully will give you good insights, jokes apart. But yes.
What Kalyan का question है ना?
Small
what do you guys
company.
think about small beverage company? Is it good to buy a small FMCG company and wait for takeover rather than investing in HUL or ITC?
Not a bad ploy.
नहीं but HUL को भी लगना चाहिए ना खरीदना है.
नहीं but Pratap Snacks is a classic case in point. Small company, it didn't do too much but eventually got bought over by a group of investors. A lot of companies will see that. In fact, that's been the story to my mind. Here's the deal, right? The FMCG companies trading at multiple high valuations and great ROCs. मतलब पता है कि धंधा solid है. पैन इंडिया प्रेजेंस है. मैं एक छोटा रीजनल प्लेयर में बोल रहा हूँ, बॉस सिर्फ ये धंधा क्यों करेगा? मैं भी गाठिया बना सकता हूँ, मैं भी एक चने बना सकता हूँ, whatever it is, भुजिया बना सकता हूँ, या whatever it is, stuff like that. I'll make it. I make a fast-moving consumer good company which is a master of two states. I go and attack that moat, that return ratio business, and I create a business of my own. At some point of time, it might get bought over. And I think HUL and the likes have bought a ton of companies in the last 10 years, right? Whether they got bought over or not is separate, but it's a brilliant idea. A lot of people have done that.
But I don't think they have bought any of the regional companies like these. But
छोटे
startups and वगैरह कर लिए हैं, काफी किए हैं. हाँ, means single products and that kind of stuff. Online e-commerce based companies.
So small. I'm a big proponent of small companies. I think they are making the mark. And boss, look at us. No, you getting a good beverage, right? For example, sorry, I don't mean to promote anybody, it's an unlisted one, so I'm saying. I use the protein bars of a particular brand. He's come on one of our shows as well, right? Whole Truth karke. I love them. And therefore, I'm using a small brand, and that brand has become bigger as from the time that it launched. I'm one example of many who are doing this.
One of the issues with the small companies is the capital is one of the issues for many of the small companies. But over a period of time, the promoter has to dilute fully. अगर promoter dilute नहीं करना चाहता, तो then capital becomes a constraint to scale up the product.
But ये धंधे में तो
वो हमेशा देखा जाता है. I mean, छोटे हमारे स्टार्टअप्स में यही प्रॉब्लम है ना. कैपिटल इज इंडिया से
कैपिटल मिल रहा है. अभी कैपिटल मिल रहा है.
बट एट अ वेरी चीप थिंग. प्रमोटर को जिस वैल्यूएशन में चाहिए वो नहीं मिल रहा है.
ठीक है.
एंड उसकी वजह से प्रमोटर डाइल्यूशन बहुत होता है. तो बाय द टाइम द आईपीओ कम प्रमोटर का तो 1-2% स्टेक ही बचा रहता है.
No, so on tomorrow tomorrow I'm not there actually. I have to go for a show. But on Monday we'll do this conversation on this whole debate, right, about The next gen is not doing dhanda.
Yeah.
But I have a completely different view on that. I take in that as well. So let's see if we can debate on that on Monday. I would love to do it tomorrow. Today we don't have the time. We'll do it on Monday.
Today
Chalo.
we are stretched.
Yeah. So let's
Chalo.
should we call it a day.
So yes, I think last question from Pawan. I think you've already done a KYC on that Jyoti CNC.
हाँ यार वो तो KYC देख लो पवन. I think you'll get very
Please
good
drop that
perspective from
KYC so that you can watch. I think a detailed one about what the company does और क्या उसका future है उसका.
हाँ.
I think we have done
Please
most of them.
bring Prabhakar Kudwa. I don't know who this person is.
Yeah. We'll get Prabhakar Kudwa.
Okay.
Yeah.
We will.
Kelton Tech
Samriddhi
Solutions पे
Capital.
कोई Manan Parekh has a question. Kelton Tech Solutions पे कोई
नहीं.
view है?
I don't have. अने का आखिरी क्वेश्चन लेते हैं. You guys invest SIP or tactical lump sum?
SIP always. SIP always.
I do tactical lump sum.
अच्छा, चलो. I can't time the market.
He's trying to time the market.
I can't.
What's the success ratio?
Must be good.
I don't want to get into that. But ठीक है. I'm okay. I'm doing okay.
Okay.
On that.
On that.
I will
Thank you.
not see you tomorrow. These two gentlemen will, but we'll.
Thank you guys.
The three of us will get back together on Monday, of course. But thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great remainder of the Thursday. Thursday is the new Friday.